here's Ed Bernstein.
Well, you think it's all about the Knights? We have the Las Vegas Lights. Right?
Right on.
Well, especially this time of the year, everybody talks about, you got two things going on. You got the Knights going into playoffs and the Lights starting.
There you go,
right?
yes.
So it's a big development. With me is Brett Lashbrook, owner of the Las Vegas Lights. And do you know who this guy is? He wasn't here. You weren't here last year.
No, I was not last year.
Eric Wynalda, who, now, you have a kind of a storied past.
Sure. Which story
Right.
we want to tell?
Well, I don't.
There's a couple.
I don't know. I mean, you're not this quiet, passive kind of coach, right?
No, I think what I've been doing after my playing career, I went straight into television. So my job was to be very.
But a very, very successful playing career.
Okay,
Don't be modest. Played in 3 World Cups for the U.S. national team, voted Player of the Decade. You know, scored the first goal in Major League Soccer history, and incredibly accomplished. Let me be your hype man here.
Thank
for
you.
a
I
second.
appreciate it.
Yes.
It's great. But but the reality is I went into a place where I was doing television a lot, and I was asked for my opinion. So I was very opinionated about things. As a coach, to be honest, I mean, a guy that was paid to talk for a decade.
Right.
When I coach, I just listen, and I don't do a whole lot of talking. But when I get mad, I get kind of.
And you did have some incidents, and look, your opening game was last week. Right? And we'll talk about what you did, Brett, in a minute, because this is Las Vegas, and you made a wager, and
go big or go home, Ed. Go big or go home.
Well, let's talk about it now. Then we'll talk about the game.
Yeah.
You made a wager.
Yes.
With the fans.
Yes.
With the public. With
Yes.
everybody in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Come to the game and what was the wager?
That there's 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and we were going to win our opening game. And you know, we can talk about the game, but it was a way to tell the community as we head into our second season with a new coach and new players, and it was a way to tell everyone this is a new Lights team, right? We had so much success last year off the field, and 7,000 plus fans a game, et cetera, et cetera. We didn't live up to our promise on the field, and bringing in Eric and new players, et cetera, et cetera. I wanted to make a statement on behalf of the club to all the fans. This is a new team, and win, lose, or draw, I have no regrets about it. I honor my bets, but it was a way to get people's attention that this is a new team, and come on out to Cashman Field and see us.
Okay, so your exact wager was, what were the terms? You had a contract.
I had a verbal contract, yes, I had a verbal contract where if we don't win, everyone gets a free ticket to our next game. So that means for some reason, you know, if lightning struck down and we lost or even had a tie, which we ended up having, everyone on their way out would get a free voucher to get a free ticket to our next game on March 30th.
Now, had you consulted me as an attorney, I would have advised you, instead of phrasing it, if we don't win, as long as we
but
don't lose.
That's how confident we are, Ed, right? Ties are like kissing your sister, right? Like, you know, we can't be rewarded for that.
Okay, so guys tied. And it was goose eggs, right?
Right.
0-0. So
I'd like to say that we outshot them by a 6-1 margin, but that doesn't count. That doesn't count at the end of the day.
And one of those shots may have been controversial, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But okay, so you're tied.
Yes.
So now what happens?
So now
somebody went to the game. How do I get a ticket?
So as everyone who was at the game as they were leaving received as we called it, an oopsie voucher, right? And they can go online and get a midfield ticket for our next home game on March 30th.
You are a man of your word.
A man of words. I'll pay up. It's going to be a packed house on the 30th, but it'll be fun.
And who do we play on the 30th?
On the 30th, we play Salt Lake City.
Okay.
As we like to call it, the Saints versus Sinners match.
And you still have other seats available, right? Other than the
we have
7,000 you're giving away.
Yes, they are going fast, right? As people are redeeming those, and anyone who was at the match, I encourage you to redeem those quickly, right? So to make sure. But we expect to have a very, very large crowd filled to the brim for that game on the 30th. And it's also our salute to the Golden Knights night, so Knights night. So working with the Golden Knights, we're actually going to be wearing Golden Knights-inspired jerseys and have a lot of Vegas Golden Knights game presentation, right? So it'll be a fun thing of kind of, we like to say Vegas supports Vegas, of helping out all the other teams.
So the Golden Knights on Saturday...
they're on the road.
They're on the road.
Yes.
So you have somebody... Like, you're going to have some surprises here, like people like Chance or things like Chance.
I think that would be a very good guess, right? But we
have a couple different mascots.
A couple different mascots, national anthems.
Fireworks?
Ice girls turned into grass divot girls. Like that. We don't know yet, right? The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, I'm sure. And with the Las Vegas Lights, I mean, it's always a surprise.
We may even change our name to the Vegas Golden Lights for the game. We don't know yet, right? We got 3 weeks to figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, look, nobody scored a goal, but we came very close, right, Eric?
Yeah, it was one of those games where, under the circumstances, I guess the opposition decided to just play a little bit more defense than we would normally see them play. They had a very talented team. All credit to them. I mean, Austin came here with a plan, and the 3 questionable penalty kicks and a possible non-offside goal, and we hit the post. So it wasn't our night. So hopefully when we come back on the 30th, it'll be different.
So did you have a confrontation or a discussion
No, I don't do
with
that.
the
I
ref?
don't do that. I don't. I just don't. I mean, I don't want to get into it now because, like, with referees, you can never win.
Right.
No matter what, you could yell at them until you're blue in the face. It's just never going to help. You just got to. Essentially, and as a player, I would. This is the way I would handle it. Right. No matter what I said, and it could be horrible, but I would keep a smile on my face. I could say, "You're the worst referee I've ever had," but I will never get a yellow card. But if the second that you start getting a little bit too flamboyant, or you're trying to show the guy up, that's when bad things happen.
So this is about delivering bad news with a smile.
Correct. That's something we all have to get good at some
Very
point.
similar to a courtroom, I presume.
That's kind of what you're doing right now. But it's good news.
Yeah. Were you satisfied your first year in Vegas?
I am incredibly satisfied, right? We were the second largest city in the entire world without a professional soccer team before we started, with 2.2 million people, incredibly diverse. Our price point of tickets starting at $15, average ticket price just over $20. There is a absolute niche in this community, especially with as diverse we are, as many kids are playing the game, as many people are watching and participating in the game. It was long overdue for us to have professional soccer, and to bring it to downtown with the help of Mayor Goodman has just been fantastic.
And now that the weather is getting nicer,
yes,
I mean that's a factor in the soccer games, correct?
Yeah, I mean for us to get 8,000 fans last Saturday on a cold night is just it warms my heart, for no pun intended, of where we're going and where we're growing. This sport is growing by leaps and bounds across the U.S. And I think we are going to turn Cashman Field into, if you're a baseball fan, the Wrigley Field, Fenway Park of professional soccer in this country. There is something really, really special about transforming. You can see here on the screen a soccer field fits absolutely perfect into that, and then you put the singing and the dancing and the cheering and the marching and the drums and the smoke and the ole 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 ole.
Right.
Ed,
we're on to something really, really special here in Las Vegas with pro soccer.
Yeah, so historically, I mean, you were playing and sharing the stadium with the
51s now Aviators. Yeah,
team.
It was very expensive. It was very onerous to take the pitcher's mound out, cover all the signs, bring in the grass, take out the dirt. We did that multiple times last year, and now we finally have a place of our own, and we've turned Cashman Field into a soccer-only facility.
So you can continue to modify it, customize it, and put a much more interactive experience.
Much more interactive, and it's just nice to know when it's your own home, right? We're there. It's now our locker room. It's now our signs. It's now our wall. It's now
our. You put booby traps in the visiting team locker room.
Right? Last year we were in the visitors' locker room. Now we moved into the nice one, so it's good.
How is that transition going from player to coach?
Well, I had a little hiatus in the middle, but I've always felt that when you're playing, you say to yourself, and the last thing in the world I want is to be a coach. I don't want guys to feel that way about me, because it's a lot of responsibility. But the reality is I've always needed and wanted to do this, and it's been I guess a healthy transition, if you will.
But as a player, you're kind of second guessing coach's decisions.
Of course.
As a broadcaster, you're criticizing coaches.
Criticizing everybody.
Right. Now you're the target, right?
Yeah,
now you're the man.
And I understand that, but I think that going through all those experiences, I was trying to look back, and somebody asked me the other day, I had 26 coaches in my career. In 15 years, that's just do the math. It's too many. It's because we had so many different national team coaches. We had coaches in Europe who were hired and fired within weeks. So, you learn a lot from all of your experiences of how to do it right, how to do it wrong, and you just take a little piece of each of them and you try and make it work for yourself.
Not to keep serving as his hype man, but one thing that really struck me about Eric during the whole interview process is this is a guy that was making a very good living on national TV, and he came and he said, I'm tired of talking about other people and how they're doing things wrong or what they should be doing. I want to be in the ring. I want to be the one making those decisions. And I think there's something, for lack of a better term, honorable about those in the ring, deserve more credit than those on the outside throwing the stones, for lack of a better term. And he recognized, even though he was making a very good living doing that, he wanted to go in the ring and face the battle week in and week out, for lack of a better term.
There's a lot of truth to
Yeah.
that. There's a lot of truth to that because there was a point, I guess, about a while ago, where I'm sitting there criticizing coaches, and then at some point somebody says, "Well, how do you know? You've never done it. You've never stood on the sidelines." And my answer to that was, "You're right." So once I engaged in coaching, and then eventually through a progression of different levels to get to this point, I think that's a valid point for someone to say, if you really want to get in the ring, then get in the ring and show us what you can do. So this is it.
As a player, you were kind of a tough guy, right?
I was not a nice person. What I remember most is so many times after games, these people would come up with their child and they would say, almost in fear, as if, can I get a picture or an autograph? And I would say, sure, how you doing? And they'd be like, oh my God, I thought you were going to rip my head off. And I said, no, that's just kind of like how I play. I don't think that's how I am in real life. So my wife says I'm a Gemini, and that's the reason why I have two personalities. And once I'm on the field, I'm one person, and off the field.
Didn't you once break a guy's nose or something?
I broke a jaw. I broke a nose. I broke a lot of fingers. What's really strange about that is I got to a point where I thought, I don't want to kick this guy, and I don't want to hit him in the face. I don't want to mess with his career. But when guys would grab me, and they're still out there right now, and they would hold onto my shirt, I would snap their finger off at the joint. And the ref...
What is the technique of doing that?
So this show has taken a turn here.
But there's, what's the ref going to do? I mean, so if a guy grabs your shirt, you just literally take this hand, and you go right in between, and you snap that pinky off.
Oh.
So now... two things are going to happen. He's going to be in pain, and he's never going to grab me again. Right. So, it's just one of those little things you learn. But I just didn't want to hurt people.
So when you break a finger in soccer, do you have to stop playing? No.
Not really.
Doesn't really affect the game, right?
That's what always happened. The ref, he'd say, he broke my finger, and then the referee would say,
Foot's okay?
Come on, get on with it. It's not your leg, it's not your foot, it's not your face. So keep playing.
What makes the Las Vegas Lights so different?
Oh, where do we start?
Yeah, where do we start? I'm a big believer that professional sports teams need to embrace their community, right? So I use the example, the Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears, Pittsburgh Steelers, they represent that upper Midwest blue-collar mentality. The LA Lakers, whether they're in the playoffs or not, they're still Showtime. They're still everything that is Los Angeles and Hollywood. I believe Las Vegas is 24/7, fast, glitzy, a little kitschy, draw color outside the lines, all of that, right? And I look back, the last team that I think truly embraced the embodiment of this community was the old Jerry Tarkanian days, right? And when we started this team, I wanted us to do that as well. I think that we, as a platform of playing in Las Vegas, we have the ability to do a lot of fun things. And I think people that come to our games see that our game presentation is unlike any other in professional soccer, from the live llama mascots on the field to the mascot that looks like Elvis Presley coming in on a motorcycle, to smiley emojis when our players score goals and they pull up their jerseys, to the confetti, to the smoke, the flags. It is a completely unique niche that we have found in the entertainment capital of the world that we didn't have. We have a little slice of Mexico City, London, Brazil, etc., right here in our community, and it's been great. And the way the community has responded to it has been wonderful.
Well, the other cool thing about that is how diverse Vegas is. I mean, it's just the Latino community. I mean, our goalkeeper, let me get it right, Bishop Gorman. I said it wrong the other day. But I mean, one of the stars of our team is a local kid from Las Vegas, and he saved our butt the other night with his butt as our goalkeeper. So and then you have guys from Congo and Togo and Cameroon and Mexico and Guatemala and Honduras. So it's this Vegas is a global destination, but we've got players from all over the globe. So it's an interesting part of it. And the other part that I think is important to our team is when you pick players, you also got to pick the person. You have to get guys with good character, who care about their community, care about wearing the shirt, and represent us well. So that weighed in a lot in my thinking as far as the selection process of who's on this team.
I would also just add, look at Eric's personality and what he represents in the sport of soccer, right? Mm-hmm. As a club, we want to represent that. That is all part of who we represent, right? We are loud, we are brash, we are unabashedly lead with our chin, and I think that's going to make for a really, really fun season.
And we're good. We are good. We're better than a 0-0, Ed. I promise you that.
Are you going to make a wager on the next game?
Oh, yeah. I'll let him make it this time.
I'm not allowed. But I do know this. I do know that as disappointed as I am, my guys have been chomping at the bit. You saw it yesterday in practice. They really want to get back after it, and that's important to me too.
You know, normally when you have a coach who is a former player, they have a certain style that they're known as, having performed as a player. Even Coach Gallant, at the hockey team, he was kind of a tough guy when he was a player. Pittsburgh Penguins, Rick Tocchet was kind of a tough guy, but the team, they don't necessarily want the team to follow in those footsteps, right?
Well, I mean that's the beauty of it. I mean you have to have an edge to you. You have to understand what it takes to win. That's first and foremost. You have to have a perfect understanding of how to build a squad that's going to win. But more important than anything else when it comes to your players is each one of them has their own personality. And you have to figure out a way to put that puzzle together to allow them to be them. When you start trying to change guys into something that they're not, that's usually where it goes the wrong direction. I mean, I hope that I can instill a little bit of fight and ambition, but that was all part of the interview process more than anything else.
So how do you look at a player and decide what characteristic you want to emphasize with that individual player?
So, I'm going to try and give you a couple examples here. You have to have options. You have to be able to change it up. I mean, if you get predictable in soccer, it's just too easy for the opposition. So one of the things that people are starting to figure out already about our team is that we'll change systems within a game. We'll mix it up. And we'll essentially look at guys for certain moments, because soccer is just a series of small moments, and you have to prepare them to practice and to play, but knowing that, okay, this is what this guy is good at, let's make him great at it. Let's not make him average at everything. Let's be great in every position, and then that way it works. It's kind of complex, but it's a weird way of putting together a puzzle, but I enjoy it. I think we've built a very good team. We'll be better than 0-0, I promise you that.
What do you have to do to get into playoffs?
Well,
what kind of record do you really need?
Well, I mean, I think the way we looked at it, historically speaking, you got to win, just under half of your games, which is kind of interesting. But I think we'll do better than that. I mean, it's a 34-game schedule, so when you get to the end of it, and you win 18 games, you're in. And then a lot of these games, as we did the other night, if you tie, that point takes points away from other teams. So getting in that top 6, the top 5 is where I really want to be.
And a lot of this is, we're kind of going through this with the Knights right now, is peaking at the right time.
Exactly.
I mean, there's teams that can do really well the first few games and then kind of, fizzle out.
That's kind of what's going to, I'm not hoping, but I think to be fair, the team that we played against the other night, Austin, they were phenomenal. They had some older players with a lot of experience, and they still have the legs. We play these guys in June, it might be a different game. So I think, to your point, is ideally we really want to be hitting stride right about July, and that's where we can start piling up some victories. I've said this before. I want to be at the top of the table, so that we're already chasing it. We lost 2 points in our first game, but I still think this is a team that will certainly compete for the top of the table.
And right now, the team, the players are learning about each other, learning how to work with each other, how to
to
work
a certain
with you.
extent. But I mean, when I say this team was built, I really mean that. These are guys. There's some of our players who maybe at a lower division have had 150 games together. So if you really start thinking about that, they know each other really well. I mean, inserting other pieces and trying to put it all together, but I would say 8 to 10 guys know each other extremely well, and that's the reason why they're here. Is that I wanted to start really well. I wanted to get off to, and I understood that if we came in mid-January and everybody was introducing themselves for the first time, this could get tricky. So, and that's hard. That's very hard to do. The fact that they knew each other is going to help us in the end.
How different is this year's team from last year's team?
Very. Style-wise, I would say that. Last year, I'm not picking on these guys, but defensively, they're a little older, and so there's a lot of fouls. They put themselves in foul trouble, and then they got taken advantage of it at the end of games. Didn't have a lot of skill guys in the middle of the park, and certainly didn't have. Sammy Ochoa, to a certain extent, and Mendiola, who are the 2 guys that got most of the goals, we're a different style now. We can get at you in different ways. It's not always that predictable, as I said before. So. This is a good team. We'll eventually show our true colors.
Okay, so this week we're away. Mm-hmm. And then you're back on the 30.
Yeah, so we have 2 away games. We
Two
go
away
to-
games.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 away games.
Oklahoma
then
City
back
and
home.
Portland, and then
That'll
back
be
against
great,
Salt
I
Lake
think.
City.
I mean, look, in professional sports, sometimes you look forward to getting on the road. You know, you want to go. If you have kids, you want to get some sleep. There's all kinds of things.
Well,
that
let's
weigh
talk about that. Okay, I mean, there's less pressure,
in. Sure.
right? But on one side, but on the flip side, you know, your fans aren't there supporting you.
And which is great. In a certain, to me, I think learning to win on the road is going to be the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And our guys need to be able to do that. The way we will play on the road is going to be different than the way that we play at home. However, again, winning on the road is everything. Making those road trips and coming back with some points and success. It builds team camaraderie, and everything just kind of stems off of that.
And knowing Eric, he'll put just as much pressure on himself on the road as he will at home.
Every game.
There's a mindset here. There's a mentality.
I mean, look, I want to win, and I would. The fact that we tied was so ironic because this is the last thing in the world I thought would happen. And the way that the game played out, there were still opportunities within. I still can't believe we tied, but there will be times where I will go for it. I mean, that's if you come out and you watch our games, you'll know that we're going to go for it. We almost scored.
That's being Las Vegas. There's a mentality and there's a mindset and there's something of representing the city.
Well, there's also a part of that where you've just won 4 spins in a row at the roulette table. You walk away. You're not going to get 5. But the reality is I think we're figuring it out.
Knowing when to leave is important.
Very important.
Sports books allow wagering?
100%, yeah. Last year we actually became the first U.S.-based professional sports team to not just fully embrace sports gambling, but actually to promote it in stadium. So we have a deal with William Hill and looking to continue to grow that. And with the Supreme Court change, ruling 6 months ago, obviously there's a lot more teams following us, but they're still not allowed to talk about the line in the stadium and promote it, right? We're actually on our loudspeaker. We're telling people what the lines are and how it's moved at halftime. We fully embrace it, and I think it'd be completely hypocritical to be in Las Vegas and to not do so.
Now, with William Hill, you can actually bet on your phone, right?
We can bet on our phone. We encourage our fans. There's a $50 bonus for registration and sign-up fees, and so we encourage the fans to take out their phones during the game and bet on it.
But whatever you do, don't ask me what I think the score is going to be. I'm staying out of this. I have to stay out of this completely.
Well, I thought you would know better than Brett. Obviously, Brett doesn't know.
Yeah, so I'm.
I always say bet the over and bet the win.
But look, clearly our players can't engage, coaches can't engage in betting within our league. So we would never do that.
I mean, when you look at professional sports, you look at the contract that Bryce Harper just signed, $300+ million, and Mark Stone on the Knights, an $80 million contract. And you look at what the soccer players are making. There's a huge difference. I mean, you see that as just a starting point of where the sport's going to grow, compensation-wise. I mean, because at one time, hockey players didn't make a whole lot of money either, right?
Well, I mean, look, soccer is it's a global game. Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many different markets and there's so many different leagues. I mean, if you look at the NHL or the Major League Baseball, there's such a concentration. There's only 32 teams, and that's where all the money is dispersed. You look at Ronaldo. I mean, he's had some issues with paying taxes, but the reality is this guy's $200 million a year. It's ridiculous. So as far as Messi or some of the bigger names in the game, our guys don't make a lot of money. But that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. I think that ideally, if they play well in the global market of soccer, someone's going to come at us with a big number and try and purchase the right to take our player. And as business people, we'll take that. And that's not only a great opportunity for us to reinvest, but also for that player to move on to bigger and better things. Not as if we're the greatest club in the world, which we might very well be, but I think that player has the opportunity to go make millions. And all they have to do is show how good they are here.
It just speaks to the international market of soccer, right? Like we talked about, and if you're a football, basketball, or baseball player, you're coming to the United States. In soccer, there's 200+ countries that have
Spain,
multiple
Germany,
leagues.
Italy, England.
And the marketplace is so global.
Last summer, we were traveling in Europe during the World Cup. There wasn't a restaurant anywhere in Europe, a street anywhere in Europe, a beach anywhere in Europe where the game was just not
I like to say the rest of the world
Yes.
can't be wrong, right? And it's
Right.
taken many years for the sport to get where it is today in the United States. I think we still have an enormous amount of upside. When you see what's happening in the other sports, you see the number of kids that are playing it, and you just see the diversity of this country. I think I'd say soccer is a buy stock, if that makes sense.
Right. Take me through what a fan should be looking at and going to the game against Salt Lake. Okay, you get there early.
You get there early. We got the Zappos tailgates, so you know.
So in the parking lot is an area of the parking lot there.
Yep, we got it right outside the main gate with games and all types of festivities and food, beer gardens. You've got the supporter groups that are sitting there with their drums and their flags and getting ready. We've got our official team DJ Ocho, and our official team MC Bojo, Ocho and Bojo, and just having fun and interaction with the crowd. We're the only team that brings the head coach out before the game to come talk to the fans. I know he loves that, but
before they get too drunk.
Yeah.
So what time should a fan get there for that?
Fans should get there around 6 o'clock, right?
Right.
Go have a drink, have a quick bite to eat. Gates open at 6:30. I like to say the pre-show starts at 7:15. That's when we'll honor someone from the community with our pink scarf. The mascot will be rolling in on the motorcycle, and the fireworks and the confetti and everything else will start getting around.
A great time. And tickets start at how
only
much?
$15.
$15.
I like to say it's the best deal in Las Vegas since the $4.99 prime rib. It was incredibly important that we made this affordable for everyone. We really think that there's an opportunity here in Las Vegas, that there's very few places where I'll call it that Summerlin soccer mom, that downtown millennial hipster, and that working class family in North Las Vegas can come together shoulder to shoulder, all afford it, have an equally good time, cheer for Las Vegas, and have fun. Right? Win or lose or draw, you're going to have fun. We are going to make you smile, and it's going to be a good time. And I say, if I can get everyone in Las Vegas to come once, I know you're going to come twice, and we are going to build something really special here with the sport of soccer.
And you heard it from the boss. Right? He's already predicted you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
You know his record.
I promise you smile. Win or lose, you'll leave with a smile on your face.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Coach Eric. Thank you.
got it.
See you next week.
Good thing you have insurance. The lady in front of you just called that Bernstein.
Enough said. Call Ed. EdBernstein.com.